AirTech Soldier here, and I'm back to talk about Secret Invasion Season 1, Episode 2, and my thoughts on this episode. I thought it was a good episode. I'm really enjoying the story. It makes sense. It's not really anything stupid. There is a bit of woke in this episode. We had a little scene between Rhodey and Fury, and that scene was kind of just like, okay, let's get on with this. But overall, it's a good episode. I enjoyed it. Doesn't really happen that much with Marvel for me anymore. But yeah, it's an okay episode. I will still give it 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I think it's alright. It's not blowing me away so far. I have got to admit that. I am kind of getting a bit bored that Fury seems to just be walking around. He doesn't seem to be trying to make a plan to fight the fight, let's just say. But I'm gonna trust in the series. I'm gonna give it time. We've only got 2 episodes. We're only finding out everything we need to know. So I'm just giving it time. So I'm just gonna give this a 6 out of 10. It's an okay episode. I'm enjoying the story, and I'm enjoying the twists and turns. And the bit at the end was surprising, but I could deal with it. It's surprising, but it isn't at the same time. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Let's go to spoilers now. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So the episode starts off with us going back in time to when Fury makes the pledge to the Skrulls, and he makes a commitment to them that if he helps him defend Earth, he will help them find a planet to live on and be safe on. And we also, in this flashback, get to see the child version of Gravik, and we find out his backstory. He lost his parents during the war. He is a very smart kid. He apparently managed to fly a ship to Earth or something, or through a battlefield. I don't really remember which one, but he apparently is a very talented boy, and he could be useful in the fight for the Skrull people. At least that's what the woman who was introducing him to Fury said. And then Fury kind of talks to the kid a little bit, tells him, listen, things can be better, we can get you through this, all I need is for you to help me, and whatever. So yeah, Fury makes the pledge. They all agree to live on Earth, pretend to be different people, don't go around their own skin, and Fury will help them find a home. Back in the present, we are in Russia, where the bombs have blown up, and Fury is then dragged away by Tals, and he throws him in the van and gets him out of the situation. The Russians then arrest one of the Skrull bombers who's pretending to be an American. We then go to some news clips where they explain what's happening, like Russia's blaming the US for this terrorist attack by American terrorists. And then we get all these news segments with like British media, American media, and basically Fox News media, because we have to make sure conservative media are the bad guys. Which is kind of funny, because in that clip when he says this attack is obviously staged, it's kind of weird, because it kind of makes them kind of seem right. But you know, anyway, never mind about that. So basically the world is against America because they blame them for the attack. Russia's the victim. And so Gravik then decides to schedule a meeting with the council of all the Skrulls. When they get there, they won't let Gaia in the meeting, so Gravik gives her a pistol and says if he doesn't come out, shoot one of them in the head. When they get to the meeting, you see it's basically a bunch of people, and it turns out one of them is the British Prime Minister, and the head of NATO and the head of Fox News, I think they were kind of trying to say, which was just a bit ridiculous, but there you go. And an Indian woman and an Asian bloke. Don't know what them two were. That they didn't really explain what they were in this scene. So the council have come together to talk about the attack that happened in Russia and how they think what Gravik has done was a stupid idea. They don't want to make war on the humans. And then Gravik kind of goes into his little speech where he says, we need a home. Humanity's going to kill themselves. We're just rushing the process. And the fact he's not going to make the same mistakes as the last general of the Skrulls, and he doesn't want to see his people hide anymore, and the fact that they were abandoned by Fury, and that they now deserve to take over the planet for some reason. Now, my problem with this scene is, like, Fury didn't abandon them. They keep acting like Fury just left them and didn't do anything. Like, he did get, you know, vaporized with the whole click thing. It kind of just seems a bit weird, because they want to have the Skrulls as the bad guy to get the Secret Invasion comic book, you know, script. But you have made these people refugees at the same time. So you're trying to make them good and bad at the same time. I mean, it can work, but you've got to have a better reason than man is pissed off that Fury disappeared for a couple of years. And he did come back. And I don't think he's the only one to blame. Like, why don't they blame Captain Marvel either? She doesn't seem to get any criticism in these last two episodes. They don't seem to blame her for anything, even though she's the one with the superpowers. And Fury is just a man. So in that scene, it kind of did seem a bit stupid to me that Fury is the one getting most of the blame. But in this meeting, Gravik says that there should be a new general in charge of the Skrull people. Oh no, it was the British Prime Minister, the Skrull British Prime Minister, who says there needs to be a new leader because they're now going to war. It turns out the Skrull Prime Minister, she is in on this attack. She is with Gravik, and she then says all in favour of Gravik being in charge. Most of the council agrees, except for the general in charge of NATO, who tries to refuse it, but then gets bitch slapped, and then he submits. There was a stupid thing in this episode as well, when the general said he can command 1 million troops. Yeah, the General Secretary of NATO can't do that. That has to be agreed upon by the majority of NATO. I mean, if you don't really get that, the general in charge of NATO is kind of a figurehead. Like, he's in charge, but he couldn't command fucking shit. Like, he's definitely powerful, but he could not command like 1 million units to come. That was so ridiculous. Again, been in the army, I kind of know the shit that works in NATO. That would just never work. Again, you are on a NATO command, but there's a lot of command structure there. And for one guy to order that. Now, the President of the United States could probably do that. Even the British Prime Minister could probably do that. A General Secretary has no way of doing that. He's more of a politician than he is a general. Let's just say that. But anyway, so only one person on the council refuses to submit to Gravik, and it's the Indian woman. And she's like, she pretty much gives them a warning, like, the Skrulls didn't nearly get exterminated because they didn't want to fight. They nearly got exterminated because they wanted to fight. Because they wanted to fight the Kree or whoever they were fighting. And she believes the best way for the Kree to survive, the Skrulls to survive, is to work with the humans. And she will not go down this road of war that could see the death of the entire species. So Gravik tells her, sister, you can leave, you'll be fine, nobody's going to kill you. So she does. Then she rings up Talos, who's in an alleyway, and she tells Talos that what's happened. Gravik's taken over the council, and Talos tells her to try to arrange a meeting between him and Gravik. I have completely forgotten the train scene. So, as that was happening, we go back a little bit. On the train, the Russians are looking for the only fucking black guy in Russia, which is Fury. And turns out Talos is pretending to be a Russian woman. He manages to trick the two Russian soldiers not to look in the cabin that they're in. And then he reveals it's him, Talos. And then Fury turns out to be hiding in the bathroom, where we get the story about Fury and his mum when they travelled on the train during racist times, I'm guessing. And he tells a story about the Tell Me Something I Don't Know game. Tells a story about his mum figuring out how he lies, especially about when he had a girlfriend or something. And then, whilst Talos is enjoying the story from Fury, Fury turns the game on Talos and tells him to tell Fury everything he doesn't know about the Skrull evacuation, basically. And Talos tries to dodge the question, but then he kind of relents and says, fine, we escaped the Creed, there's a million of us that escaped, and basically when you disappeared, Fury, I told a million Skrulls to come to Earth, and this pretty much pisses off Fury because that's too many Skrulls for planet Earth. And then when Talos explains himself and says, listen, we're getting hunted down, the survivors that are not locked up in Skree camps, these people will get killed, they'll get massacred. All we've had through our lives is threats and torture and discrimination, and we need somewhere safe, and Earth is that place. But Fury says this is ridiculous, there's too many of you, humans have enough trouble coexisting with each other. If you adding a alien species, well, then it becomes impossible. So this pisses off Fury a lot because it turns out the Skrulls lied to him, and they've gone back on their word, and this could be a massive problem if it gets out to humans. So he pretty much tells Talos to get off the train, and he'll go it alone. In Russia, on his own, whilst Russia are looking for him. Kind of seems a bit ridiculous, but okay. Then we're in London, where we see the body of Hills, and turns out this is her mother collecting the body. And then she sees Fury, because Fury managed to escape Russia, and he's in London now. And Fury tries to give his condolences to her, says, I'm sorry for what happened, but she demands the truth. She wants to know how her daughter died and why. And he tells the truth. She died in Russia trying to save people, and she died because somebody wanted to hurt me by hurting her. And the mother just tells Fury, just make sure her death is not in vain. And Fury pretty much says, yes, I'll make sure that happens. We then get the meeting with the world leaders and Rhodey, who's represented the United States, where you have the French questioning, the French president, who's a woman, questioning Rhodey, and the British Prime Minister, the Skrull, also questioning. And we get this little funny scene where one of Eastern European countries is kind of taking the mick out of America, and Rhodey threatens to bomb the shit out of their country. Kind of seems a bit childish, but okay. But when the British Prime Minister asks why is the American President not here answering the questions, Rhodey has to remind her that America doesn't really have to deal with this. They understand the situation, but they are the most powerful country in the world, and the most powerful man in the world doesn't really need to be told what to do. And this is only a courtesy. Now, I kind of thought it was kind of badass scene because this would never happen in reality. I mean, this would be more of a Trump move to world leaders. If this was any other world leader or any other, American president, or if it was for reality, of course the American president would have gone off to talk to the world leaders. But again, I kind of think it was just a badass scene. Just, Rhodey pretty much is telling the world leaders, yeah, we don't really have to do as we're told here. We're the most powerful people in the world. Go fuck yourselves. Again, and it is fact, they are. So, after the rest of us have to suck it up. Hey, Britain was once that country. Maybe we'll be again, who knows, but right now, America is the biggest and the baddest, and we kind of have to accept that. So, Rhodey pretty much tells the council, yeah, we understand the situation, we'll deal with it, and we'll get back to you if we have any information. And so he leaves the meeting, and Fury rings Rhodey up, and Rhodey tells him where to meet him. We then get the really cringe meeting with Rhodey and Fury, where Fury tells him, yeah, we're fighting an invasion force of aliens who can transform into us. And Rhodey then says, yeah, I know, we know about this. I was on a mission way back. And then when Fury tries to play the race card, which he does by saying, people like you and me who've had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and not white people who've known a guy who's promoted them. I kind of get pissed off when I hear this shit, because it acts like all us white people have never had to try hard in anything. Because yes, we were all born with silver spoons up our asses. We didn't go through the ranks. We didn't have to go through boot camp. We didn't have to do anything hard. No. We just have everything, tossed to us. Like, fuck off. I worked my ass off in the military. I work my ass off in my job now. I don't feel like I have privilege because what? I have white skin? Fuck off. Okay, I work. Most of us work. The privileged few you keep going on about, you think I like them? You think I'm happy about that shit? I've had officers who were fucking silver spoon cunts. I understand where the pissed off mindset comes from. I still had to show respect though to those bastards. But please, stop fucking saying that it's only black people who seem to have to pull themselves up. We all have to. So this scene really did piss me off because again, white people, we're not all rich. We all had to struggle. Most of us, actually. So, fuck off with that. So, basically, Fury plays the race card, tells them that he needs to help him fight the Skrulls, but Rhodey's not having this and says, listen, Fury, fuck off, we'll deal with this, and now you're under arrest. And then when this guy tries to arrest Fury, Fury just kicks the crap out of him, takes his weapon, and then leaves the meeting, even though there was 2 security guards around Rhodey. So, where's the other guy? It just seemed a bit stupid to me. It seemed way too easy for Fury to leave that meeting. But he does, and then we go to another scene where we see the British head of MI5. She then walks into a Russian intelligence torturing the American that they captured, and she pretty much takes over the interrogation because they're not really getting anywhere, and she's made a deal with somebody in Moscow. So she takes over the meeting, cuts off one of the alien's fingers when it turns green, and then knows that what she's dealing with. She's then brought some special kind of chemical to torture the Skrull with, so he'll tell her all the information that she needs to know, or at least something that she needs to know. The Skrull tries to toughen it out and not, submit. But she's going to get away eventually. Another scene is when Gravik gets back to his camp, where every Skrull's celebrating him, cheering him on. And he's, saying, everybody, this is not just my victory, it's your victory, all that shit. And then you see Gaia kind of spying and seeing that Gravik is doing something with a scientist of the Skrulls, and apparently this Skrull scientist is trying to make the Skrulls even more powerful. And this might be them trying to make sure that if the Avengers have to get involved, they can deal with them. That's my suspicion. But she also then goes onto a computer and sees that the scientist is seeing the genetics of the Skrulls to see if they're a match for the project. Gravik then gathers up a couple of people, Gaia as well, and they go off to try to rescue the captured Skrull who's being interrogated by the Russians and the British agent, and the British lead agent. But the Skrull's pretty much given up the fight and tells the British agent what she wants to know. I know she has a name, I've just forgotten it. And tells her the scientist's name and the project, which is supposed to make Scream more powerful. So Gravik attacks the base. Gravik attacks the safe house, kills all the Russian agents. The British agent, escapes, and then Gravik rescues the Skrull. Asks the Skrull, did he tell them anything? The Skrull lies. They then get in the car. Earlier scene, you see Gaia give up the safe house that they were going to use to the Russians, but they managed to escape anyway. And then a couple of miles down the road, the captured Skrull, the Skrull they rescued, one of the other Skrulls pulls him out and then shoots him in the back of the head in the forest. So Gravik doesn't really help his people now. It seems like there was no reason for him to kill this Skrull. So I kind of thought it was a bit ridiculous, but maybe they'll explain in the next episode why he did that. And then the episode ends with Fury finding an old Range Rover driving out into the wilderness, not in the wilderness, in the countryside, where it turns out he has a house and a Skrull wife. Yes, Fury has a Skrull wife. And the episode ends with them kissing, and yeah, that's what happened. So why was he staying on the ship for this so long amount of time if he has a wife on Earth? Seems a bit ridiculous. And that's how the episode ends. I think it's an okay episode. I think it's good. It's still enjoyable. I'm still liking the story. I kind of need a next episode to move on now. I want to see a bit more now. Okay, we've gone a bit slow now. I understand build up, but that build up's got to get faster now. So it's a good episode. 6 out of 10, and that's the end of the video. If you like this video, give it a like. If you dislike this video, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. Entertainment World Soldier. Bye.